Hello and welcome to this video in the CPA Way series. The CPA Way is a methodical approach to professional problems and consists of 5 parts. This video focuses on the second part, assess the situation. You can think of assessing the situation as taking a picture of the landscape before you begin detailed work. Your purpose is to understand the problem well enough to plan your work efficiently and effectively. Your assessment will progress through 3 main stages: taking a quick snapshot to gain a general understanding of the problem, zooming in on individual features of the problem to develop a more complete landscape picture, and planning the route of your detailed work. To assess the situation, start by taking a quick snapshot to gain a general idea of what you need to do and the overall situation. For example, an external client or internal customer might ask you to provide a service or perform an analysis and give you general background information. You will use this initial information as a starting place for the next stage. In the second stage of assessing the situation, you will zoom in to perform a thorough, detailed survey of the situational information, such as major issues, which are the central problems or decisions to be addressed, along with viable decision alternatives. New professionals often make the mistake of addressing only obvious issues and alternatives, and they miss opportunities to add greater value to internal customers or external clients. Or they waste time analyzing alternatives that could be ruled out as unfeasible or impractical. Decision-maker goals and objectives, which lead to the criteria you will use later for prioritizing alternatives and reaching conclusions. The needs and preferences of other relevant stakeholder groups, such as managers, shareholders, employees, or customers. Internally or externally imposed constraints. For example, CPAs must always be concerned about complying with professional standards, ethical principles, laws, and regulations. Decisions for an organization might also be affected by constraints such as required rates of return, limits to production capacity, debt covenants, or strategic fit. Professional resources such as Handbook Income Tax Act and rules of professional conduct. During the professional education program, professional resources also include briefing documents and other program materials. Other key situational factors, such as economic circumstances, business opportunities or threats, and risks. Any other relevant information that might be useful as you address the problem, such as financial statements, memoranda, interviews, or analyses. As you zoom in on the details of a situation, you might automatically start to think about your recommendations. New professionals often jump to conclusions without adequate analysis, leading to inferior advice. Try to be patient as you assess the situation. The more objectively and carefully you go through this part of the CPA Way, the better your overall results. Sometimes you will need to perform one or more preliminary analyses to learn more about the landscape of your problem. Here are some examples of analysis techniques that are used often when assessing the situation. Financial analysis, using ratios, trends, and/or benchmarks. Materiality assessment for an assurance engagement. Risk assessment. Internal environmental scan, such as mission and vision, key success factors, core competencies, and strengths and weaknesses portions of a SWOT analysis or value chain analysis. External environmental scan, such as the opportunities and threats portions of a SWOT analysis, Porter's 5 forces, political, economic, sociocultural, technological, ecological/environmental, and legislative analysis. Key success factors or key risks. The last stage of assessing the situation is to create a preliminary plan of the additional work to be performed. At this point, your work plan should focus on identifying the major issues and alternatives to be addressed, which might require dividing larger problems into smaller sub-problems, choosing the sequence for addressing major issues. In general, higher priority issues should be addressed earlier than lower priority issues. However, one issue might be addressed first because it influences another issue. For example, analyzing financial reporting issues would precede creating the financial statements. And, finally, gathering additional situational information for each major issue, as needed. You can think of the situational assessment in layers. The first layer is the overall assessment. Then go back and reconsider the assessment for each major issue. For example, a set of professional standards might apply to one major issue but not to another. Before performing more detailed analyses, be sure that you have a detailed landscape picture and plan for each major issue. Recall that the CPA mindset is like a professional hat consisting of the attitudes and behaviors, especially the ethics, of the CPA. How should the CPA mindset influence your work while assessing the situation? Here are some examples. When assessing the situation, you need to identify potential conflicts with the rules of professional conduct. And you need to apply enabling competencies as you assess the situation. For example, due care requires you to focus on decision-maker and stakeholder concerns even if not explicitly stated, remain alert to new or changing circumstances, carefully read and review professional resources and other materials. Also, you can enhance the quality and thoroughness of your situational assessment by maintaining objectivity, independence in mental attitude, and professional skepticism. Finally, look for ways to make connections across the accounting function and throughout the entire business organization. This type of integration will increase your chance of identifying major issues and key relevant information such as risks. When you are finished assessing the situation, you should have a preliminary picture of the landscape, with identification of major issues and key situational factors. Assessing the situation provides the map and information for more detailed analysis. Avoid the temptation of going too quickly through the situational assessment. More thorough work here will improve the quality of your later work. It will also save time by helping you focus on key issues and avoid wasting effort on irrelevant activities. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Videos for other parts of the CPA Way are also available.